Whoops, I better mute.
So good morning, everybody. Before I do official introductions, I just want to speak a little bit about how these programs run. If you've never been to a Zoom program before, welcome to the 21st century. We ask that you mute your microphones, please. If you go to the lower left corner of your screen, you'll see a little microphone. Just click on it, and a red line should go through it, which means it's mute. And we need to do that because even the smallest background noise can produce interference and make it difficult for people to hear. Barbara, if you will mute your microphone, please.
What are you trying to do? It says I'm supposed to turn on my audio, but I can't.
I can hear you just fine.
You can hear me now?
Yes, but I need everybody to shut their microphones off at this point, please.
Okay, I'm not on a microphone. I don't think.
You are on a microphone because I can hear you.
I think she's muted now.
Okay. So there will be opportunities during the program when I will invite you to unmute yourselves if we want to have a little discussion or a little bit of feedback, that kind of thing. But for the time being, we'll leave it on mute. There is also, if you have questions that come up in the process of the presentation, down in the bottom, there's a little box that says chat, and that will open a screen on the right, and you can type in your question or comment just to make sure that we don't miss any important questions that need to be addressed during the program. And last but not least, we do have a little poll that we set up that we'll share at the end of the program. And it's basically just 3 questions. So just to see how the program met your needs. So I would appreciate it if before you signed off, you take a moment to click on poll. The questions will come up and you can quickly go through answer 1, 2, and 3. So that's
Judy,
that. Yes.
Judy, just before you start, if there's anyone that hasn't figured out how to mute yourself, once Judy starts talking, I'm going to go through and mute you. So that way we can just make sure that there's not the feedback as much. I hear something.
Are you hearing it too? I'm hearing it. Okay.
Let me know when you're ready, Marla.
All set from my end. Thank you.
Okay. So good morning again, everybody. This program on fall prevention, Be Smart, Stay Safe, is presented by your Albany NORC, by the Jewish Family Services of Northeastern New York, and Maria College. The Albany NORC is a program funded by the New York State Office for Aging, and we're all about aging in place, which is helping people live where they want to live for as long as they want to live there safely and in good health. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Judy England. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a yoga and meditation instructor, and I currently serve as the Senior Health Education Coordinator for the NORC. And on board today, we also have Linda Schrager. Linda, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you all today, sort of, in little boxes. My name is Linda Schrager. I'm fairly new to JFS, and my focus is mostly with the Senior Resource Network, but I'm thrilled to be doing this today with Judy. I am an occupational therapist and a social worker and an aging in place specialist, and my special interest is helping people to age in place and to adapt their homes so they can stay there as long as they want to. So that's why Judy asked me to share in this, and I'm thrilled to be here.
We're happy to have you, Linda. Great resources. In session 3, I don't know how many are here now. They may be viewing us, but Maria College, who is one of the NNORC partners, we work closely with the nursing department and with the occupational therapy department there. So in session 3, we'll be having presentations by the faculty and the students from the occupational therapy assistant program. So I'm really looking forward to that. So we've offered this program a number of times before in different permutations, but we felt it was really important to offer it again now. We have some concerns in the NNORC that because of social isolation, people are staying close to home and they're not being as active as they normally would, which could lead to physical deconditioning and a greater risk of falls. And also with winter approaching, it's important to take another look at home where we're going to be spending a lot of time, and also when you're out and about in the northeastern New York winter weather. So you should have received a packet of handouts to go with the program. There's some handout materials and there's some take-home exercises that we're going to be doing from week to week and reviewing. So if for some reason you did not receive those, please let us know either by phone or email, and we'll make sure that you receive them. So I know why I'm here. Not only am I the health education coordinator, but I'm a senior myself. And I'm very concerned about keeping myself safe. I like to be out and about, and I do know I hear stories all the time from people in the NNORC who have either experienced a fall or know somebody who's experienced a fall. And they relate to me that they can tell you on September something, you know, whatever year, my life changed permanently, and that was because of the fall. So that's why I'm here, for my own personal reasons as well as my professional reasons. And I'm sure each one of you here has your own particular reason for being here. Let's look at what we're going to be doing today. Marla, can you see the whole slide on the screen, or is it partially covered?
I can see the whole slide, but I have the talking thing smaller. I don't know if people know how to change that. Okay. But yeah, the whole slide is up.
Okay, that's fine then. That's fine. So just in general, an overview of the program, and this is going to encompass 3 sessions, 3 Wednesdays from 10 to 11. We're going to be talking about the scope of the problem of falls. We're going to be looking at our attitudes and beliefs about falls and falling. And last but not least, we're going to look at ways to stay safe and mobile throughout our senior years. These are some statistics about falls from the CDC. Pretty significant numbers when you think that once every second a senior adult falls, and that 1 in 4 adults reported a fall in 2014, and I believe that was the same for 2016 as well. Here's some more statistics. Every year, 3 million adults are treated for fall-related injuries, and 800,000 of those are hospitalized. 20 to 30% have moderate to severe injuries, and falls represent the major cause of injury death in those 65 or older. The problem is that of the adults that fall, 1 in 4, less than half will let their healthcare providers know that they have fallen. The problem too is that once we've had a fall, our fear of falling again can dramatically change how comfortable we feel being active and moving about, which can actually result in more falls. But I want you to remember one important thing, that 3 out of 4 do not fall. And certainly the reason why we're here is because we want to be those 3 and not that 1. So I love this quote from Henry Ford: whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. A lot of our mental attitudes and belief shape our behavior. So we need to look at that. And what I've done is compiled a list of things you may have heard about being a senior and the risk of falls. So I'd like you to listen to each one, to look at each one. If one resonates with you, to kind of click that into your mind. And when we're done looking at all of these, we'll open the mics and have some feedback from folks. Falls should be expected as a natural part of growing older. Where do your thoughts go when you hear that? How about this? Most falls can't be prevented. Falling is embarrassing. I often think about falling and worry I might hurt myself. If I tell my doctor that I've fallen, they might think I can't take care of myself. That's a biggie. There are things I'd like to do, but I don't because I'm afraid I might fall. So let's just pause for a moment and have a little discussion around those statements. And remember, there's no right, there's no wrong here. There's just your attitudes and beliefs or things you may have heard that resonate with you. So feel free to unmute yourself and let's chat.
I'll go first.
Thank you.
I don't think any of them are true. For me.
Okay.
I took a fall in June. Fractured my elbow. And applying. Are you getting the feedback that I'm getting?
I am.
I don't know what to do about that.
Somebody may have a phone on. And if everybody who is not speaking mutes themselves while Rabbi is speaking, that should help.
Bill Shapiro is unmuted. Barbara's unmuted. I see. So if we can get those muted.
I
Anyhow,
can't get, actually it's Julie muted. It's not letting me do it.
It's nice and clear now, Rabbi. So
okay,
it's
great.
better,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
applying my fall, these bullet points to my fall, I don't buy into any of them.
Okay.
It is embarrassing, I would say.
So you related, I think I'm talking to Barbara. I recognize your voice. The embarrassing part. Say more about that if you will, Barbara.
You just feel like if you're out someplace and you fall and, I mean, everybody's looking at you and you feel like an old jerk. You know, I think it's embarrassing. I think the other things I agree with the rabbi. I don't think you should expect to fall. I mean, I don't think it's a natural part of growing older. And I think they can be prevented if you're careful. But I still think falling is embarrassing.
Yeah, the actual physical process, like suppose you're out in the shopping mall or walking down the street and you take a tumble. Could be very embarrassing. Janet.
Yeah, I'm afraid to ride a bicycle because I'm afraid I might fall. I've had 2 hip replacements and a knee replacement, and I don't have the same body I had the last time I was on a bike, and I'm terrified of it. So I haven't done it. I've had opportunities, but I've always said no.
And this is specifically about bike riding.
Yes, I'm still struggling with going downstairs foot over foot, even with a banister, and it's more fear than actual danger because I can do it. My trainer makes me do it, but every time I get on the stairs, I get scared because my left side, I thought, was so unstable for so long that I can't believe it actually works now. But I'm working on that one.
So you're learning to trust your body again.
I guess that's true, but it's slow. It's a slow process. Yeah.
Judy,
I had,
Marjorie had something to say.
All right. Well, let's go with Janet Sanders first because she had unmuted herself.
It's Jeanette, actually.
Jeanette.
It's
Hi, Jeanette.
Hi. Hi. Falling is embarrassing. A couple of years back, I had crystals in my ear. And I would walk out of some place and all of a sudden I would fall into bushes. And I looked like I was, intoxicated. And that made me embarrassed. And I also have a fear of telling the doctor anything because I'm always afraid they're going to take away my health insurance. So I do have a fear of, reporting a fall because you just don't know what's going to happen. And I recently, last year, I think it was, I was carrying stuff and I was going in my girlfriend's garage and she had a stair that kind of twisted and I fell off of that stair and I fractured, or I broke my ankle or fractured my ankle and took a couple of months for me to get better. So I have a fear and I never had a fear before. So it does limit you because you have it in the back of your mind.
And what we do know about falls and fear of falling is that if you have a fear of falling, it contributes to the risk of a fall. So,
Yes.
and you know that as well, and you're trying to work on that. Yeah. Margie Pass, I believe, had raised her hand with something.
Yes, hi.
Hi, Margie.
Hi. About 4 years ago, I had a bad fall where I nearly lost my left eye, and it has affected me ever since. I am terrified of falling again, and I even started in the winter. If the footing isn't perfect, I use a cane just because I'm afraid my balance is off. And 2 weeks ago, I fell again. Luckily, no major damage that time, but falling, it does affect me every day because I am terrified of doing it again. And I did tell people about this last fall, but I think the embarrassing part comes in because everybody gets so concerned and blah, blah. And, it's like, if there's really something wrong, I will go to the doctor. But if, I just have scrapes and bruises, I'm not going to. But people just get a little over crazed about it, but I do see it affecting me completely.
And thanks for sharing, Margie. And I think family too. We like it when our family is concerned about us, but we don't necessarily appreciate it as we get older if they are overly concerned about it.
Absolutely.
It feels, in a very real sense, we are concerned about losing independence. And that's one of the things we're going to be looking at during this program as well, is how do you continue to be independent, self-sufficient, not terribly limited in what your choices are in terms of activity, and yet negotiate with your family that you appreciate their concern. So it's a tough balance sometimes, and particularly as we get older, that kind of, it feels like a role reversal to some of us, like they're concerned about us too much.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to weigh in on one or more of those statements?
Judy, can I jump in for a sec?
Absolutely, Linda.
I just want to point out that not reporting a fall is one of the #1 symptoms that people do not report to their doctor. And it's a concern because if the medical people who work with you know that you've had a fall, then they can create a plan, such as what we're going to talk about today, on how to prevent them. So it's so important, if you do go to your doctor for a checkup or whatever, if you've had a fall or two, to report it. You're not going to be taken out of your home, and you're not going to lose your independence, but it's really important for then a treatment plan to be made to address the situation.
Yeah, thanks, Linda. And I remember the last time I went for a checkup, which wasn't too long ago, it was probably pre-COVID, but I was specifically asked if I had had a fall in the last 6 months or a year. So I felt that was very proactive on the part of the healthcare providers to raise that question in case we didn't volunteer that information ourselves. Anybody else want to weigh in on
All right, go
these
ahead.
statements?
You're on. Go ahead.
I can talk?
Yes.
Oh, thank you for sharing this with us. I'm not afraid of falling. I have fallen. And there was really no reason. I do have a problem with balance. I get dizzy at times. They don't know why. And the blood pressure will go up and then I fall. And there's nothing I can do to control that except to be careful. I use a walker all the time, which I didn't at first, but now I do. And sometimes, and I'm not afraid of falling. I don't think about it. I just know what I can do and what I can't do, and I live accordingly. I live in, where do I live, Jesse?
5-star. Assisted?
In independent living. And the last time I fell, they have alarm buttons. I pressed the button because I couldn't get up. And they came and they picked me up. And you feel awkward. I don't know if I'm embarrassed, but you feel awkward. And I think just thinking about what your activities, for me, helps me keep my perspective. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the way I'm living.
And it makes perfect sense that you have recognized some of the challenges you're facing, as well as some of your abilities, balancing those out and saying, I may not be able to do this, but I can do this. Focusing on the positive aspects of how you can be free to move about. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a comment?
Judy, I had a serious fall several years back, and as a result, I was embarrassed because it wasn't in my face reminder that I'm not 45 anymore. And I do live independently, and there are things that I don't do because I am afraid of falling, and I am hiring more work done out. But I have been very proactive. I've gotten an Apple Watch with fall detection. I have made some adjustments in things I do and don't do while I'm by myself. But yeah, that coming to reality of we can't do what we used to do is kind of a hard one to swallow sometimes.
Yeah. But it is that recognition of, no, I can't do this, but I can do this. And you are maintaining your independence by getting outside help. And we're going to be exploring that idea in more detail. And so will Linda be talking about that as well. Linda, do you have anything you want to add to Judy's comment?
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I think it's interesting that you said that sometimes you just don't do what you used to do, and that's a shame. But if there are things that you really want to do, that you're worried about falling, that's the kind of thing where perhaps you could, speak with a physical or occupational therapist and kind of learn how to do these things maybe in a different way, so they're safer. So that would be something for you to explore. I think it's very safe that you're thinking, well, if I just don't do whatever it is, I won't fall. But perhaps there's a way to modify some of your actions so that you can still do some of the things that you love.
Mm-hmm. And I'd have to give everybody who's here this morning a pat on the back for being proactive. Exploring this in conversation with other people is just a wonderful way to gain more insight and gain more skill at managing this problem. Thanks. So these questions lead us to the first take-home activity, which should be in your packet. And if you haven't gotten it, please let us know and we'll make sure that you receive a copy of this. This is take-home activity number 1, exploring your personal thoughts and concerns about falling. And this is something for you to work on. Again, this is not an exam. This is not a test. This is not a right or a wrong thing. This is just your beliefs and feelings and attitudes. So on the sheet, there are 5 questions. And the first is, and I'm hearing this from some of you already in this conversation, things you might be afraid of doing because you might fall. So ask yourself that. Is there one particular thing that maybe I would really like to do, but my concerns are getting in the way of my doing it? The second part is, based on your own experience, how dangerous is this situation? And I want you to be very honest from your own experience, rating on a scale of 0 to not dangerous at all to 5, extremely dangerous. Asking yourself, how realistic is this concern concerning this activity? Number 3, what can I do to make this activity as safe as it can be? And here again, I ask you to be as specific as you can, just to get yourself thinking about how you can specifically modify your behavior. Number 4, what will happen if I give in to my fear and don't do this? You know, what would that represent to you in terms of loss of quality of life or enjoyment or pleasure or friendships? How would that impact you if you gave up doing that activity? And then, since I always like to end on a positive note, what positive outcome might happen if I did try this activity with those modifications? So that's for you to work on between this session and next session. When we get together, we will talk about it, we'll share ideas. And that's one of the strengths of meeting in a group like this, is that perhaps you don't have an idea that somebody else does. And the collective wisdom, you know, if I added up the ages of everybody participating in this program, I think it would be pretty outstanding. But we all have a lot of wisdom that we've gained over the years, and to share that in a group is so, so valuable. So here comes the part that's important. This is all important, but this is the actual movement piece of the program. And I took the liberty of pre-recording the exercises for 2 reasons. Number 1 was logistics. It was hard for me to get from my computer here to where I can demonstrate like I do when I teach yoga. And number 2, I wanted to record this and share it with you so that you would have an opportunity to practice at home. So we will be sending out that link to you so that you can go over. So it's not just a printed sheet. So you're actually seeing me doing the exercises. Before we begin, I want to give some caveats about doing the exercise. Safety awareness. It's very, very important to keep tabs on what you feel might be your limitations. So if you need to modify a movement, if a movement is done standing and you don't feel safe, perhaps you can do it seated. You'll need a sturdy, straight-backed chair. If you're doing chair yoga with me, you already have one of those. You can, I've done some repetitions of the exercises, but feel free to modify that as well. For instance, if you're feeling tired, do fewer. If you're feeling stronger that day, add a few more repetitions. Stop and rest as you need to. Don't worry, you don't need anybody's permission to sit out a movement at any point. If you are feeling pain, that's a red flag. You need to stop completely and perhaps consider calling your family, your healthcare provider, or even 911. So you need to be the judge of that. But pain is a signal to stop completely. When we do standing work, it's important to keep your eyes focused on the horizon, not to be looking down too much, but to have that soft gaze off into the horizon, and to keep your legs a little bit soft. And what do I mean by that? If you've taken yoga classes, you know that I mean don't lock your knees. Don't push the kneecaps back. You want to have a little bit of flexibility so the muscles can do the work of supporting you rather than the bones and the joints. Take your time with the exercises. You don't need to rush. And last, but certainly not least, breathing. Keep your breathing slow and steady and regular. If you find that you're having trouble running out of breath, that is a sign to slow down or to stop. Are we good with that? All right. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen. I'm going to queue up the video, and I would invite you all to make sure you have your chair handy so that we can do the exercises together. And here we go. Welcome everybody to the fall prevention exercises, the actual exercise component of this program. So I invite you to use this video during the week, anytime you have the opportunity to do a few stretches, to do a few movements. All of these exercises are based on movements that will build strength, flexibility, and balance to help in fall prevention. Let's begin. Make sure you have a nice straight back chair, very supportive, and a chair that allows your feet to reach flat on the floor. Excuse me. Some of our exercises will be done seated, others will be done standing, and there's always the opportunity to modify the standing poses so that they can be done in a seated position. So let's begin. Finding a comfortable way to sit. And let's just center for a minute before we begin to move by focusing on our breath. Just allowing yourself to place your hands on your belly, to feel the belly expand and contract as you breathe in. Let's take 10 conscious breaths here. Keeping the shoulders relaxed. And knowing that during these exercises, you're doing something very worthwhile for yourself. Good, and then releasing your arms after that 10th breath, opening your arms nice and wide, drawing the elbows and the shoulders back. Let's breathe in and twist to the right. Breathe back to center and twist to the left. Back to center. And again, working with the breath. Breathing into center, exhaling to the other side. Let's do one more set of those. Exhaling to the right, bringing it back to center, to the left, and back to center. And lowering your arms down. So let's relax the shoulders just by circling. Nice, full, easy circles. Don't lose that breath. And then pause and go in the other direction. One more. Good. And then I'm just going to let my left ear and my left shoulder fall close together, giving a nice stretch in the neck. Breathe in, exhale to the other side. Breathe it back to center and over again. And you can even do some micro movements here. So you allow the head to rock forward and back, particularly good if there's some extra stiffness there. Back to center and over to the other side. Again, I'm just going to rock my head gently from front to back. Breathing in, let's do one more on each side, over to the left. Breathe it back to center and then drop it to the right. Good. So let's float our arms up, touch the fingertips to the shoulders, and we're going to keep the elbows directly out from the shoulders as we do this. Try not to let them drop down. Take a breath in. As you exhale, round your spine, draw your elbows together in front. And then as you breathe in, draw the elbows back. You can look up. And exhale, elbows together. Inhale, open, so my whole spine is moving here. We're going to do a couple more of those. Breathing in, opening, exhaling and closing. And once more, open and close. Last time, and open, really, really wide. Good, and relax. So I'm going to turn my head to the right. I want to be very gentle with my neck. Take a breath in, and then just gently turn the head to the left. Breathe in, and exhale to the other side. So even though we're working with the upper body, make sure you keep your lower body grounded. Your spine stays straight. And always, always, always staying connected with the breath. And let's do once more from side to side. Very gently with the neck. And back to center. So let's work the fingers a little bit. We're going to wiggle the fingers, maybe shake them out. And then touch the tip of each finger to the thumb, going back and forth. So as much as possible, try to create a nice circle as you touch each finger to the thumb. And then spread your fingers wide and then curl the fingers into your palm. Inhale, open the fingers. Exhale, curl and round. Breathe in, open the fingers. Curl and round. And once more, open those fingers nice and wide. And exhale, curl them in. Good. And take a breath. So we're going to do some diagonal arm stretches now. So I'm going to start with my left arm, and I'm going to draw it across my chest and gently press on the upper arm. Try to keep your sit bones straight and relax. Stretch it across and relax and stretch it across. And remember, when you're practicing at home, you can do more or less of these as your body needs to. So let's draw the arm up and across and press and relax. And again, press and relax. Once more, press and relax. And now we're going to bring the arm diagonally and down and press and relax. Press and relax. And once more, press and relax. We'll go to the other side. Stretching across. Good, and relax. Stretch it across. And relax. And once more, stretch across and relax. Going up diagonally, stretching, pressing, and relax. Remember, if there's any discomfort, please feel free to stop and rest. And if there's any pain, to stop completely. Good. And let's go to the bottom now. Stretch and relax. And stretch and relax. So I'm just stretching the arm, the upper body, and the lower body stays quiet. And relax. Good. So let's pay attention to our feet. Remember how critical the feet are for balance. So I'm just going to pick up my left foot and move my foot in a circle. So I'm circling at the ankle, trying to keep the rest of the leg quiet. Let's do a couple in the other direction. Good, and go to the other side, circle. It's like you're stirring up a pot. And some in the other direction. Good. And then we're just going to march. So you don't have to worry about picking the knees up too far. Just a little bit is fine. If you'd like, you can pump your arms, just like you're walking down the street. We'll do that for about 10 more seconds. And rest. Good. Now we're going from walking to rowing our boat. And it looks like this, reaching forward with the arms and then pull it back. Breathe in, reach forward. Exhale, pull it back. And 3. So my spine is rounding a little bit as I reach forward. And I'm coming into a little bit of a back bend as I pull the elbows back. Let's do one more. Good, and let that go. I'm going to move into something called the chair push-up. And it's not essential that you stand completely up, but if that feels good to you, you can. So I'm going to place my hands on the side of the chair. If you have a chair with arms, this is also useful. So my feet are directly under my knees. I'm going to take a breath in and engage these core muscles. And as I exhale, I'm going to push into the chair and stand partway up and come down. Stand up, hold it just for a beat, and come down. So if you're practicing at home and you want to challenge yourself, you can actually come into chair pose, which is removing the hands from the chair and standing up. But again, just doing the chair push-ups are perfectly fine. So I'm going to slide my left foot out so the knee is almost straight. And then inhale and lift the foot. Hold it there for a beat. Lower it down. And again, lifting the leg. Feel how that quadricep muscle is really working. Back. And lift. And down. And back. And let's do one more. Slide the foot forward. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. As you get stronger, go to the other side. You may feel that you want to do more of these, more repetitions. It's perfectly fine. Good. And 3. And 4. Staying with your breath. Don't lose that breath. Last one. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Good. So now I'm going to focus on raising my knees. And I'm not going to use my hands to help me, but if you do need to, you can always hold on below the thigh. That works really well too. So we'll start with the right leg, lift the knee up, and bring it down. And 2. So making sure you're keeping the rest of your body nice and straight, the spine engaged. And 4. and 5. And let it go. We'll go to the other side. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Try not to lean back in your chair. And 3 and 4 and 5. Good. And just take a couple of breaths. And let's come up to standing. So for the standing work, you can either stand by the side of your chair, which is fine, or you can stand at the back of your chair, whichever gives you the most support. I'm going to stand at the side just so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to be coming up on our toes. So let's inhale and lift the heels, and exhale, drop them down. And 2. And 3, and 4, and 5. You can even pause for a little bit if you'd like. Just feel those calf muscles working. Good, and take a breath. So let's go for another walk. This time we'll be standing. And again, you can hold on to the chair or you can release the chair. We're just gonna march. If you have some nice music to put on, you can do that. If you'd like to add your arms, by all means, be my guest. So let's just march for about another 10 seconds. Making sure I'm breathing. Feels so good. And stop. And just always checking in with how you're feeling. Good. We're going to step from side to side. With these poses, it's important to keep your eyes focused on the horizon. Try not to look down at your feet. Again, if you need to hold on to the chair for some support, please feel free to do so. We're just going to step from side to side. So the left foot steps out and the right foot joins it. The right foot steps and in. Keeping your knees soft, feeling the whole surface of your foot as you step from side to side. You want to feel that connection with the earth. Let's do a couple more here. We're going to get a little bit fancy in a minute. And bring it back to center. Good, and take a breath. So now we're going to do something called the box step, which is good for balance and it's great for coordination. So it looks like this. I'm going to step out with the left foot and bring the right foot towards it. Step back with the left foot, right foot towards it. Out to the side with the right, step forward with the right. You got that? Here we go. Step, feet together, step back, feet together, step to the side, feet together, forward, feet together. Do a couple more. This is really fun. You didn't know you could dance. Last one, stepping back, feet together, stepping to the side, feet together, eyes on the horizon, and feet together, and pause. The next movement is called hip extensions. So again, you can hold on to your chair or not as your body allows. I'm going to slide the foot back, keeping the toe on the floor until I feel a good stretch right in the front of the leg. And bring it back. Slide it back. And bring it forward. Slide it back. And bring it forward. Couple more here. And bring it back. Take a break and go to the other side. Slide the right foot back, bring it forward. Keeping the supporting leg nice and soft. You want to have a little micro bend in that supporting knee. 2 more. Good. And now just soften your knees and soften your hips and just begin to circle. This also works seated. If you have some nice Hawaiian music in the background, that's always helpful. You can pretend you're doing the hula. Let's do one more in this direction. And then in the other direction. Nice, easy circles. Good. And then bring that back to center. So the final stretch is called the heel cord stretch. I'm going to turn my chair sideways so you can see the position. So I'm going to take a comfortable step back with one leg. So I'm not leaning towards the chair. I'm keeping my upper body nice and straight. And I'm going to create a little bend in that forward knee. Press back through the heel of the back leg so you feel the stretch all the way up to the base of the buttocks. Make sure you're breathing. So you're holding the stretch, but you're definitely not holding your breath. Great, and let's come to the other side, stepping back. Creating that little bend in the forward knee, pressing back through the heel, standing up straight. You can release one hand if you like, eyes on the horizon. Wonderful. Come back to center. Take your seat. And I think you deserve a great big hug for doing that. So open your arms wide. Wrap your left arm around your right. Give yourself a squeeze. Other direction, squeeze. Great. And come to rest. You've done some really good work. And you'll be amazed at how these simple movements help to make you stronger, more flexible, and have better balance. Welcome back, everybody. So let's just take a minute here before we wrap up to take any questions and comments, perhaps about the exercises or any other part of the program. And maybe let Linda say a little bit about what's going to be coming up next week. We always like to give a little coming attraction. So if you would like to speak or ask a question about the exercises or the belief and attitudes component, the floor is yours. Giovanni.
Hello, everyone. In case you didn't know, I'm Giovanni. I'm an intern currently here at the NORC. What I wanted to comment on is that through my middle school time, I had torn the tendons in my ankles. And so I have also had a fear of falling continuously. For example, I really enjoy running, but because of the tears in my ankles, I always think about falling. But through these exercises, I feel much more comfortable, and especially in the parts of my body that feel more strained or stiff. And also, just as someone who's a bit younger, I don't necessarily find falling embarrassing at the moment. I don't. I kind of thought of it as just a thing that happens. However, that's because I don't really know. It's just a thing that I think about personally. I guess I'm just used to it in many ways. For example, I've fallen in public many a time. So I guess my point is, even someone my age also thinks about falling.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Giovanni. That's a really, really good point in that even though we tend to focus on the idea that this is a problem of seniors, it affects everybody. And I think what's different here is our response to what happens rather than the event itself. So thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that. Anyone else have any questions about the exercises, the movements? Remember, this will be sent out to you as a video that you can watch and practice with. I see Karen DeWillers has her hand up. Karen, you have a question?
Well, I have a comment. I consider myself the queen of falling. I've knocked myself unconscious. I've fallen on black ice. And yes, I had to call 911 and say that I've fallen and I can't get up. By the time the police officer and the ambulance came, I crawled up and pulled myself up off of a shrub and then a posting about parking on my street. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't be embarrassed. I am injured and need replacement knee surgery, but it happens. That's just the way it is. My concern is that because both of my knees need replacement, but right now it's my left one that's got me stymied. Is there anything I can do besides the physical therapy exercises and what's going on to make it not hurt so much all the time?
Well, I think, Karen, that's something that you need to talk with your healthcare provider about. And in a situation like this, it's getting to know your body well. And I know you participate in the chair yoga classes that I teach weekly, which is great. But getting to know your body, sometimes we have pain from inactivity. And this is particularly a problem with osteoarthritis. If you don't move, the joints get stiff and they are more painful. And sometimes we have pain because it's the body's way of saying, that's enough, you need to stop, or you need to modify. So to continue to explore in very gentle ways, what happens when you do certain movements? If I do this movement this way rather than this way, is it more comfortable for me? Just continue to learn about yourself and to talk with your healthcare providers always.
Okay.
Any
Thanks.
other? You're welcome. Keep coming to yoga. It's good for you. Anybody else? Yes, Janet or Jeanette?
Oh. I wondered if you could talk a little bit about why stretching is so important.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, stretching.
Stretching.
Raise your hand again. I'm getting a lot of feedback. Here again. So anyone who's not talking, please mute their microphone. Okay, let's see if this works. No, it's still doing. Anyway. There's always the balance when we are looking to prevent falls, especially. There's always this wonderful balance between three aspects of our fitness: our strength, our balance itself, and our flexibility. Just think about remembering those exercises we did with the ankle, just isolating and rotating the ankle. Think about the movements your foot has to go through in order to walk properly, to feel a sense of balance. And flexibility is something that we tend to lose as we age and with immobility. So it's very important to keep those muscles not only strong, but supple and stretched out. Linda, do you have something you would like to add to that, or?
Well, just briefly, that stretching is actually a way of warming up. I'm now hearing feedback. I think maybe Janet unmuted herself.
Okay.
See, is that better? So just by doing that stretch first, you're warming up the muscle and getting it ready to do the movement that you're going to ask it to do. So stretching is great. I mean, stretching in itself can be your activity. Just doing stretching, like yoga and that type of thing, is a great workout, and it warms up your muscles, and that's the key.
gets the blood flowing, and we want that blood flowing. And when you move the joints too, you're moving, there's a fluid in the joint spaces called the synovial fluid. And when we do repetitive movements like circles, like knee lifts and bends, we're getting that fluid, which is the natural shock absorber for your body. We're getting that fluid moving.
It's a lubrication for your joints.
Very important.
Sorry.
Any other questions or comments?
I know Janet and Jeanette had a question, but do you guys?
I just want to know, is the exercises going to be on YouTube, or how is that going to be transmitted to us?
I recorded them on YouTube. And yeah, I will send you out the link for that so that you can have that, keep it, practice it. Because it's one thing to read it on a sheet of paper. It's another thing to see somebody actually doing it. So yeah, it'll be there. And somebody else, Marla, you said had a comment?
No, it was Janet or Jeanette.
All right. So remember to do your homework. Remember to do the poll before we close out the site. And I also want to turn the floor over to Linda to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing next week together.
So next week, first of all, we'll have a review because it's always good to remember what we did the week before. These days, I can't remember what I did that morning. So we'll go over the take home and the exercises. And then we're going to do a bit of a different twist. I'm going to be talking about your actual home and going through room by room and showing you some pictures of modifications that I've done in the past. For example, the shower and grab bars and where they should go, and the toilet and all the different options that you have to maybe make it higher if you're feeling that it's become a long journey down and it's not so easy to get on and off. So we'll go through room by room and just chat about the different ideas that I'll give you to maybe make it a little safer and easier to navigate in your house. That'll be the focus for next week.
Thanks, Linda. And based on the information that we're going to be sharing next week, you're going to have another homework assignment at the end of the following week, which will be making a personal action plan for something in your home or something when you're out, that some step you might take to make your activities a little safer and a little more enjoyable and a little less fearful about falling. So I thank you all for participating. If you will move your cursor down to the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little icon that says polling. If you would be good enough to click on that and take just the last few minutes to answer a few questions.
And
I look forward.
Go.
I look forward to seeing you all next week. Go, Marla.
And I will send the link again next Tuesday, so that way it's kind of on the top of your email, but it will be the same link as today.
I don't see the polling on mine.
Nor do I.
If you put your mouse on the bottom of the screen, it should come up as polls.
I'm using a tablet.
No, I only have chat, share, record, and reactions.
Yeah, that's what I have too.
Yeah, I don't have poll either.
I have participants, chats, share screen, record, and reaction. And mute and stop video, that's it.
Huh.
I don't have it either.
All right, so we'll work on that for next week.
All right.
The many challenges of COVID-19.
Oh gosh.
I'm glad we can all take it with such good humor. So thank you all for coming. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day.
Have a good week, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
Stay healthy and safe.
You too.